Hi, okay, so in this video I'm basically going to be talking about my experiences with manipulating hallucinations, and I'm talking about hallucinations where I was actually aware that I was hallucinating and that I could like change whatever I was seeing. So it's kind of hard to talk about this because I wasn't on a specific substance, and I'm talking about the past, like from a long time ago. So the first time I really could manipulate a hallucination was when I was on my Benadryl experience, and I made a video about that, but I didn't talk about the hallucinations that I could manipulate. I was talking about the hallucinations that were realistic of my parents coming in and everything like that, and that's completely different. But right after that happened, I didn't talk about how after that I took a couple sleeping pills. So the sleeping pills I took were Seroquel, and in the pills that I was prescribed, I'm only supposed to take a quarter of a pill, so that's 25 mg, but I took 4. But I took 4 pills. And what it does, like, I call it like a zombie drug because it makes you kind of like slow, and it's so hard to stay awake. Like, it's the strongest sleeping pill I ever known. And I took it because when I was on Benadryl, I was scared and I was freaking the fuck out. So I was like, I must pass out and sleep. What Seroquel does to me is that it's like, it makes my heartbeat beat slower, and Benadryl was making my heartbeat pump really, really fast. So I was stuck in this weird in-between, and this is my theory on why I get these hallucinations, because of another hallucination that I'll talk about. And I was in this weird in-between where I was kind of like, my heartbeat was beating so fast, but then then I took something to slow it down, and it met in the middle, not where I was normal, but normal enough to feel like I was normal, you know? And what I saw, it actually took me by surprise. Same as my second time. I went something like this, and I saw, at that time I remember it was yellow or green, little it's like string coming out of your arm, like fingers, like just wiggling off your fingers, just a lot of string on all of my fingers, on my whole body, just like coming out of my skin. And I was like, holy shit, I was so scared. I was literally so scared. I was like, what is this? Because I was not prepared for this. It took me by surprise because I was gonna touch my face or something, and I saw it. And I saw this when the whole room was fucking black, when it was dark, and the yellow was like light, and it was like string. And I started playing with it like this, doing this and stretching, because it would kind of like pull apart. Like, it looks like what I explained at the time when that happened, before the second time that happened, was that like my skin was melting off, like as if I burned it and it was melting off, and they were melting together. And I was playing with it and kind of like moving it around, and it was really cool. And I called it Scribbles because it was like a cartoon where like things were like drawing. And I talked about this to Rowie, and he talked to me about the energy, and I like understood what he meant, and like it only hit me when he told me. Like, I think like seeing that is pretty obvious that it's energy coming out of your hands, but when he told me that, I was like, holy shit, I can fucking see my energy. And was really freaked out when that happened. When you're on Seroquel and you want to abuse it because it's psychoactive, you gotta like try to stay awake as long as you can. But anyways, and I was like, that is the weirdest fucking shit I've ever seen. And I never thought I would be able to see that again, but I did. I don't really know how to explain what I was on in this time, and it's really hard for me to get back to the hallucination because I don't really know what I was on. But for this one, it was on a Thursday. Me and my friend took nutmeg, and we were just like, because I was one of those people who was just like, let's just fucking try, you know. We took nutmeg, and we didn't feel anything. It has psycho properties, that's what I heard, you know. So we didn't feel anything. And then the next day, on Friday, took this thing in Taiwan called coffee, which is just kind of like a coffee packet mixed with like mostly ecstasy, but because the ecstasy is compressed with either like ketamine or speed or meth, so it's kind of like a goodie bag. Like, you don't really know what's going to be in the coffee. And we found out that we were assuming that it was speed, and it wasn't a great trip. Everything we were talking about as friends, we were just so depressing. Everything was so depressing. and I came home and I was just so depressed. I was crying, and that time I didn't cut myself for maybe 2 months, which was like a really long time. But that time I was so depressed. I was like, I want to fucking kill myself. I went home and my heart was beating really fucking fast. I decided to take Seroquel, and this is the common denominator between my hallucinations that I can manipulate. And I took, I think 4 again. I took 4 of those sleeping pills, just like, I have to slow down my heartbeat just to like fucking sleep. And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think that I was gonna hallucinate. And I'm on my computer and I'm so depressed and I felt like cutting myself. And the computer was like, is light, so I couldn't see anything, or when I was typing I couldn't see if I was like having any energy on my fingers. And suddenly I think I remember I did this. I was scratching my face or something, and I fucking saw this red energy. And this time, like, the yarn, like the string was so much thicker, so much stronger, and moving so much flowier. And I turned off my computer and I realized, because I remember every time I want to be sober, I would look at my computer, because if something weird happens on the computer, your mind just tells you, oh, that's just the computer, you know, it's okay, it's like a movie or something. And so I turned it off. I looked over to my wall here, which I didn't have this at the time, and I was moving my fingers like this, and I saw all the energy, and it was coming out of my arms, and it was red, and it was pulsing, and it was amazing. It was so powerful. I took a video because I felt like one of my veins were coming out. I took a video of that. Play with it, and I learned how to roll the energy into a ball, like the scribbles into a ball, just like this red ball of yarn. And when you hold it like this, it just floats in the middle, spinning, like constantly spinning like this, and like it looks like it's growing in yarn. And I learned how to throw it, and with throwing it, it doesn't glide like a ball. It doesn't follow the law of physics. It kind of just goes straight like this, and it kind of shakes. And then I pull it back like this, like you're pulling one bit of yarn, and it rolls itself over into me. And I realized when I threw it like confident and not scared, it would glide. Like, it never really had that parabola. It kind of just went straight. It would just glide smoothly and then come back smoothly. But when I first threw it and I was really like scared, like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Is something gonna explode? Is something gonna freak me out? I don't know. I was so scared. And it would like shake and almost like drop. And I thought that was so cool. And besides seeing scribbles like that, I could compress her. But this was really hard. Like, I tried really hard, and I wondered what I could make. And I compressed her into a dice. And I don't remember if the dice had any faces, but okay. If this tampon box is the die in my hand, and I was holding it in the air like this, it spun like this. You know, it didn't spin like this. It spun like this. It was so weird. And that was amazing. But it kind of fell apart and back into that yarn. And I'm looking at the wall, and I start to see, I know this is the weirdest thing ever, like, compared to scribbles. I just see like comic strips. Like, my skin was comic strips. Very like faint comic strips. And it was in black and white, everything. The wall was comic strips, especially like this black shelf I had was comic strips, but especially this arm was. And I went to the bathroom to look in the mirror, just check my eyes. I looked fucked. And in the bathroom I was okay because it was light, but I came back to this room. I suddenly started getting so fucking scared. I was alone. I was freaking out. I didn't know what was happening. My heart was just weird. I thought my veins were coming out, and I started to note that I wasn't prepared for this. And I think that's why it's so amazing. And I was freaking the fuck out. I was literally, my heart was beating so fast. I was so scared. And then I realized Scribbles, who was like a flowy energy, started to become really sharp. Like really, really fucking sharp. Like sharp like that. And I got scared of Scribbles. I don't know why I was thinking, but I actually went under, like what I was thinking, but I went under the blankets, hoping that it would be gone. I closed my eyes. I was like this. I was just like, let me sleep, you know, because I was so fucking scared, and the comic strips were everywhere, and Scribbles was being spiky, and I thought Scribbles was gonna like hurt me, and that didn't help because, you know, it was darker so I could see things more vibrantly. I don't know what was going through my head, but I finally managed to sleep. But I was so fucking scared. I was so scared, but I would do a fuck lot to get to see scribbles again. Okay, that sounds really desperate, but that was one of the most amazing experiences I've had in my whole life. It was such an amazing experience, and I understand the fact that I was scared and that I should have tried to make it last long, but I know for a fact that I'm gonna get scribbles again because I know that my mind is strong enough to kind of get scribbles out of it, you know? That's another thing I realized about my hallucinations when I've had. It's like when I was on acid a couple times, the closer I was to home, the more like flower looking patterns were on the floor. For example, like on the floor of the roads, there would be patterns, and they're more like flowy and stuff. But when I went to the city, because I did it 3 times when I was here, I went to the city and I was completely away from my home, completely far away to a place where I was comfortable. They were more sharp and more aggressive, and that's what I realized. And I make connections with absolutely everything, and I actually hope that like I could update this video and be like, hey, I had another hallucination, you know. And this is a video I like to talk about because I am passionate about this, and I'm really like glad I could share it with you guys. I want to like make a disclaimer again that for the younger viewers I have, please do not see me as a role model because I don't want you guys to be sending me Snapchats being like, hey, I did this, hey, I did that, you know. The Tumblr quote of the day is, do you ever think perhaps that the universe that we could be living in is simply a brain cell to another living creature? Okay, I can't show the photo, but a brain cell looks the same as like the universe from afar, so I thought that was really interesting. So hope everyone's having a lovely day, and yeah.